There are few rivalries in the NFL more intense than the one between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. The 1980 NFC Championship to send the Eagles to the Super Bowl, the infamous Bounty Bowls, the meeting in 1980 dubbed Super Bowl 14½, which ended on a highly controversial call that you can check out on the upper right corner. And on December 10, 1995, the teams met at Veterans Stadium to add another chapter to the rivalry. This was a huge game. Back in 1995, if it was December and you had Madden and Summerall calling your game, you knew it was legit. For Dallas, they're sitting at 10-3 with the best record in the NFC. They can clinch the NFC East with the win, and they control their own destiny with 3 games left in their quest for home field advantage. And I think it goes without saying that home field advantage is a really big deal. In the previous 15 NFC championships from 1980 to 94, the home team won 13 times. For Philadelphia, they're sitting at 8-5. With a win, they'd only be a game out of the division, and they'd own the tiebreaker over Dallas. But more importantly, the NFC is a dogfight right now. With 3 weeks to go, there's still 12 teams that can realistically make the playoffs. You got the 3 division winners, Philly at 8-5, 5 teams at 7-6, and 3 teams at 6-7. It is a tight race, and a win by the Eagles is necessary if they want a cushion and they want some breathing room. Dallas has won 7 straight against the Eagles, and early on, it's looking like history is going to repeat itself, as the Cowboys lead 17-6 at the half. But late in the third quarter, Ricky Watters scores a 1-yard touchdown to make it a 17-12 game. Tack on the 2-point conversion, and it's now just a 3-point game at the end of the third quarter. The Cowboys blow a golden opportunity to make it a 2-possession game when, sitting on the 5-yard line, Emmitt Smith fumbles, giving Philadelphia new life. 2 drives later, Philly's able to drive down the field thanks to Ricky Watters, who touched the ball 8 times on 10 plays during the drive. Gary Anderson drills a 38-yard field goal, and now it's 17-all tied up. 3 minutes left, and the Cowboys have the ball. This is their time to shine. You've got a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Troy Aikman. You've got one of the greatest halfbacks of all time in Emmitt Smith. You've got a future Hall of Fame receiver in Michael Irvin. You've got arguably the best tight end during the first half of the 1990s in Jay Novacek. Time for a clutch fourth quarter drive. First down, and Aikman finds Wait, that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay. Second down, and Aikman throws a nice pass down the sideline to Jay Novacek. Wait, he dropped that? Okay. Third down, and Aikman completes it to Corey Fleming, who has 0 on-field awareness and has no idea where the first down marker is. Seriously, how do you not run a route past the 6 in that situation? Philly's defense just made a stop. 3 and out. Dallas is going to punt the ball back to the Wait, they're going for it? They're actually going for it. On their own 29-yard line. There's no way this is possibly going to work. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. But amazingly enough, Dallas gets bailed out because the referees ruled that the 2-minute warning hit before they got the snap off. So this play never counted. You have a chance to forget this ever happened. Do the smart thing and pump the ball. Oh, come on, we're really doing this again?
Same play. Didn't get it again. That's unbelievable. This is unbelievable. What in the heck is going on?
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Now, before I break this play down, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something that looked bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something that looked awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Barry Switzer. Many people would argue that he is the worst coach in NFL history to win a Super Bowl, which is both an insult and a compliment. His 4-year tenure with the Cowboys was full of controversy and ups and downs, and this was definitely one of those moments on the low end. So with that being said, let's take a look at why going for it in a tie ballgame on your own 29-yard line is a bad idea. I think the best way to illustrate this is to compare the situation to another play that was very similar that I'm sure popped into your head when you saw it. That, of course, was the Patriots-Colts play from 2009. The time and the yard line from these two plays are almost identical, and the end results were identical. Both the Patriots and the Cowboys were stopped short and wound up losing thanks to the opposition having great field position. But there are quite a few differences between the two that are noteworthy, and why I'm not criticizing Bill Belichick, but I am criticizing Barry Switzer. For one of these decisions was made by arguably the greatest coach of all time and a football genius, and the other was made by Barry Switzer. But aside from that, because that has no bearing on what happens on the field, why am I okay with one of these decisions, and why am I pulling my hair out with the other? The first reason has to do with the success of the opposing team. By going for it on 4th down, you're saying, we don't want the other team to touch the ball, because if they do, we lose the game. And for New England, it makes sense. On the other side of the field was probably the best offense in football in the Indianapolis Colts, led of course by Peyton Manning. On their previous 3 drives, Indy scored 2 touchdowns. And on those drives where they scored 2 touchdowns, they did it in no time at all. Their first touchdown of the fourth quarter was a 79-yard drive where the Colts took just 2 minutes and 4 seconds off the clock. And their second touchdown of the fourth quarter was also a 79-yard drive where the Colts took 1 minute and 49 seconds off the clock. Plus, Manning led the league in fourth quarter comebacks the year before in 2008, and had led a fourth quarter comeback in each of Indy's previous 2 games entering this one. Belichick was probably right. If you gave Peyton Manning the ball back, you were not winning. As for Barry Switzer, who would they be giving the ball back to? None other than Rodney Peete, seriously? You were scared of giving the ball back to the guy in the Lipizzaner commercials? I looked at every drive that Rodney Peete had in his NFL career up until that point, where his team was trailing with 5 minutes to go in the game, just to see how many times he's pulled a rabbit out of his hat. I know the Eagles and Cowboys were tied at this point, but they were trailing with 5 minutes left in the game, so that's why I did it like this. Keep in mind that this is not when the drive started, just if the clock hit 5 minutes at any point in the drive. Peete got drafted by the Lions in 1989, so this game in 1995 was his 7th season in football. You know how many times in 7 seasons he's led a game-winning drive trailing with 5 minutes to go? 3 times. That's it. And when you break those 3 drives down, it's even worse. The most recent one of these drives was on October 31st, 1993 against the Minnesota Vikings. He threw an atrocious pass on 4th down that should have ended the game, but it got bailed out by a pass interference penalty. Then, he had one on October 6, 1991, also against the Minnesota Vikings. The entire drive was him literally giving the ball to Barry Sanders and have Sanders run wild. Peete did absolutely nothing. And he had one on October 15, 1989 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not taking anything away from this one. Less than 2 minutes to go, and he leads a touchdown drive where he makes a lot of really good plays. So just to summarize, Rodney Peete in his 7 seasons in pro football had led a grand total of 3 game-winning drives, and he got bailed out by either the refs or Barry Sanders in 2 of them. And the Cowboys were worried about him getting the ball back, even though at this point in the game, he was 20 for 29 with 187 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick, a 72.1 passer rating, and 3 sacks. That's one difference between Belichick's decision and Switzer's. Number 2, the risk-reward factor was designed in the Patriots-Colts game in a way where it made sense for New England to go for it. If they got it, the reward was great, because it would have all but ended the game. The odds that Indy gets the ball back are slim to none. If they didn't get it, then the Colts still have to go 30 yards to get a touchdown. And with the short field, if the Colts score, you're probably going to be getting the ball back with some time to get into field goal range and win the game. Meanwhile, with Switzer's decision, this made no sense. If the Cowboys got the first down, congratulations. You still need to drive another 40 or so yards in order to have a shot at winning the game in regulation, especially since your kicker, Chris Bonial, had never made a field goal longer than 47 yards at this moment and had only had a not-so-nice 69% of his kicks from the 40-plus yard range in his career. And driving that far was not going to be easy because the Cowboys were not exactly lighting it up offensively, especially in the second half. If the Cowboys didn't get the first down, however, the Eagles already have the ball in field goal range and have to do nothing whatsoever to take the lead. Remember that the Eagles have Gary Anderson as their kicker, a 3-time Pro Bowler widely regarded as one of the greatest kickers to ever play the sport. If Philly does nothing after getting the ball back but get to the line of scrimmage, I am still putting my money on Anderson to hit a 47-yard field goal. By getting the first down, you still have tons of work to do, and by not getting the first down, you just handed Philly the game. And of course, there's the most egregious difference between the 2 situations. The Cowboys literally ran the same exact play at the 2-minute warning in the same exact 2-3 personnel. Nobody's lined up out wide, Smith in the backfield, a fullback, 7 on the line, and a tight end on the far side lined up just off the line. Now look at what they run when they get the do-over. It's the same exact play, with nobody lined up out wide, Smith in the backfield, a fullback, 7 on the line, and a tight end on the far side lined up just off the line. Here's a good analogy to describe what Switzer just did. Imagine that you're golfing, and you're teeing off on a 300-yard par 4 where the green is surrounded by water. You try to drive the green and go for it, because you're feeling lucky. You miss the green short by a solid 70 yards, landing in the water. Now you decide to use a mulligan, and on the ensuing tee shot, you go with the driver again to try and drive the green, even though you came nowhere close to doing so last time. The ball winds up in the water again. That's what Switzer did here. He had an opportunity that most coaches only get once in their career if they're lucky, a chance to redo a play. He had that awful Madden rewind feature in his back pocket, and he decided to try the same exact thing. What do they say about the definition of insanity again? Naturally, when the Eagles won the game 20-17, Switzer was widely criticized by just about everyone. John Madden said that the Cowboys deserved to lose. Mike Ditka called the two plays dumb and dumber. And Jimmy Johnson, who had no bitterness toward the Cowboys whatsoever, said, "I guarantee you even Jerry Jones would have punted." But Barry Switzer had no regrets. He said, "I'm a thick-skinned SOB. I was trying to go win a football game. It was the right thing to do at the time. I know the pulse of our team." Clearly, he didn't know the pulse on this play. Now, in the long run, this did not matter. Philly made the postseason, and they would have made it regardless of whether or not they won this game. The only thing that would have made a difference is that in the wildcard round, Detroit would have hosted Philly and not the other way around. And Dallas went on to win Super Bowl 30 that year, proving the hypothesis that if you have enough talent, you can get by with poor coaching. So what do we learn from this play? If you're gonna go for it on your own 29-yard line in a tie game, you probably should think twice. However, if you are dead set on going for it, make sure the opposing quarterback and offense is good enough to justify the decision. Don't go for it if the reward of getting the first down is significantly less than the risk of what happens if you don't pick it up. And if you're gonna go for it, if for some reason you call a play that doesn't work, and then you have the opportunity to do it over, take advantage of it. And don't be stupid enough to call the same play twice. Because when all of this is in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision.
Same play. Didn't get it again. Didn't get it again. That's unbelievable. This is unbelievable.
Special thanks to all our Patreon supporters for helping the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.